Here we go. All right, this is Wednesday, reading from the Gospel of Matthew. One of the more perplexing parables Jesus will say here. Jesus told his disciples this parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out at dawn to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with them for the usual daily wage, he sent them into a vineyard. Going out about 9 o'clock, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace. And he said to them, "You too go into my vineyard, and I will give you what is just." So they went off and went out again at noon around 3 o'clock and did likewise. Going out about 5 o'clock, he found others standing around, and he said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" They answered, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You too go into my vineyard." And when it was evening, the owner of the vineyard said to the foreman, "Summon the laborers and give them their pay, beginning with the last and ending with the first." When those who had started about 5 o'clock came, and each received the usual daily wage, so when the first came, they thought they would receive more. But each of them also got the usual wage. And on receiving it, they grumbled against the landowner, saying, "These last ones worked only 1 hour, and you made them equal to us, who bore the day's burden and the heat." He said to one of them in reply, "My friend, I'm not cheating you. Did you not agree with me for the usual daily wage? Take what is yours and go. What if I wish to give this last one the same as you? Or am I not free to do with my own money? Or are you envious because I am generous? Thus the last will be first, and the first will be last." For many Americans, this is a very perplexing parable. We can't help but side with the early laborers, those who began all day, 6 in the morning, working in the heat, and doing most of the work. Think about it here in the summer here in Florida. All right, you got there early in the morning, worked all day in the hot sun. Another group came just at 5 o'clock, worked for an hour, and the sun was kind of a little cooling off anyway. How would you feel that they got paid the same as you did? Whoa, come on now. Who wouldn't complain? Who wouldn't mumble? We'll join a union and protest that. But Jesus, in this parable, could avoid this whole affair. He deliberately called the ones who came last and paid them first so the others could see it. He could have avoided the whole thing by just paying those who came first, giving them their money first, and let them go home. And they would have never been the smarter for it. But he wanted them to see it, to point out their own, envy, maybe somewhat greed. So why? So why does this landowner do that? Because simply this. If he were to pay them only for 1 hour's work, how could he feed his family? How could he take care of his kids? So it's really out of compassion. Not so much that he felt he deserved it, but if I only give you 1 hour's wage, it's not going to be much help to you. And not that he was paying him an exorbitant sum of money, one daily wage, but at least he could take care of his family. And so that's why he did it. It was out of compassion. And funny, I was asking some about wills. Let's say you have 2 children. One that does well in their career, quite successful, financially doing well off, and your other child, through no fault of their own, they make ends meet. They struggle. They work, but different talent, different gifts pay different salaries for different people. So as you have your will, how would you divide the money? Would you favor the one who doesn't have much, or would you go 50-50 regardless? Most of them said to go 50-50. I said, well, what about the one who doesn't, the one who had would be upset, but they're doing fine. They don't really need the money. But say, it doesn't matter. It would anger them. Sort of similar here as well. Even the apostles couldn't understand this. When they tried to interpret this, give a meaning to this parable, they said the last shall be first and the first shall be last. The anger is not because they got paid first. That's not the problem. The problem is that they got paid the same. You make them equal to us. And that's what we don't want. We don't want people equal. We want to be superior. So, Lord, we pray that we may have a generous heart. Be grateful for what we have. And be grateful that you are kind and merciful to those in need. God bless you.